Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of testing sites and important information on how to protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In it together and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Log on to columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, contact Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. And Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. Coping with COVID, brought to you by SCDHEC. In it together, the Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Center, and Palmetto Media Connections.
Coping with COVID with Tre Tailor.
Hey there, happy Thursday, and thank you so much for joining us for Coping with Tre Tailor. Today, we're coping with what you can do to help confirm the appointment of the first African-American female to the Supreme Court, Ketanji Brown. To lead us through the conversation, Bre Maxwell joins us. She is a political strategist with Indigo Consulting. Bre, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to come back with Bre, and hopefully we'll also be joined by attorney Janice Mathis, Executive Director of the National Council of Negro Women. That and more coming up next on Coping with Tre Tailor. But first, your COVID community updates. The first woman Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, died yesterday after battling cancer. After the 85-year-old also served as UN ambassador for the United States and remained politically active after she left the White House. Throughout her career, she received several awards and honors, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama. And big ups to Richland School District 1. Superintendent Craig Witherspoon announced a one-time $500 bonus to help full-time employees and $250 for part-time employees at the pump. SCDHEC has your most up-to-date list of times, dates, and location for COVID testing in and around South Carolina. Visit scdheck.gov for an updated list of times, dates, and locations. Now, all of this information will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show, so please don't forget to post and share. Also, you see information about vaccines for those who are in the military. Also, all of the retail information, including Kroger, CVS, and Walgreens. Brooklyn Baptist Church in Columbia, South Carolina, has a COVID clinic. And then the Comet Bus System, not only are they offering free rides to get your vaccination, they also have a testing site at their main location at the corner of Sumter and Laurel Streets. Now, if you are having a challenge making your COVID appointment, your vaccine appointment, or getting a test, Get Set Up can help you do just that. We'll also have information on the bottom of the screen about financial resources, including funeral expenses that FEMA is reimbursing. Also, Lexington County is one of the many places that are offering assistance. Dominion Energy is also offering assistance. And if you are having some challenges coping with COVID, the South Carolina Department of Mental Health has a 24-hour assistance line called SC Hopes. Also, we'll be scrolling at the bottom of the screen information about the No Judge, No Jail event from the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office. Now, they've had this event several times. It's been wildly successful. They're going to have it again in April, where if you have an outstanding warrant, you can stop by there and get it taken care of, get some great resources, and find out how you can get on with your life. Also, if you have a group or organization that can provide services to help kids get ready for kindergarten, First Steps has a great grant opportunity if you can provide those services. Also, First Steps also has some great summits coming up, again, for child caregivers. If you want a JOB, the City of Columbia is doing job test job. They're offering jobs. They're doing job interviews throughout the week every Wednesday. And you can see that information on the screen. And Spectrum is hiring 350 additional workers at their West Columbia site. Also, you can work from home. So please don't forget about that. You're watching Coping with Tre Tailor, and I am Tre Tailor. We are streaming live on the Tailor Made Production Facebook page. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow. Not only will you be able to get all of your COVID-related updates, but you can also find out and get notifications as to when we go live. And that is Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council. And then, of course, Thursday and Friday, we do Coping with Tre Tailor. We are also streaming live on the YouTube channel. Thank you for all of you YouTubers for joining us. Please go over there and hit the subscribe button. And you can also find past episodes of Coping with Tre Tailor. We also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. Now, you can also make a comment if you've got a comment. Gina Jenkins Boykin says, good afternoon. Hey, good afternoon, Gina. Thank you so much for joining us. We want you to make your comment. We've got a great panel of guests today, and we're going to have a very spirited, I'm sure, conversation. Coming up, we are going to talk about the nomination of Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown. And we're also going to talk to some folks who are going to let you know what you can do to help. That's right. You've got a part in this, and we're going to give you that information coming up next on Coping with Tre Tailor. That's next.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Aiken Cockrum. As Miss America, I know that taking care of yourself is important. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. 90% of South Carolinians who have it don't know they have it. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program. Brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Thank you so much for joining us on Coping with Tre Tailor. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you so much for watching us, whether you're watching on Facebook. We are streaming live on Facebook. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow, and also on our YouTube channel where you can subscribe and also watch past episodes of Coping with COVID on Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday, and also on Thursday and Friday. We'll also have a presence on Twitter and also on Instagram. Well, many have been riveted for this week's confirmation hearing for the first African-American nominated to the Supreme Court justice position. But what can you do to help Attorney Ketanji Brown? Here to answer that question is radio host and attorney Janice Mathis joins us today. She is Executive Director of the National Council of Negro Women, the 80-year-old nonprofit organization devoted to improving the quality of life for women, their families, and communities. NCNW promotes STEM, entrepreneurship, health, and traditional values. Attorney Mathis, thank you so much for joining us again today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Tre.
Thank you. Also joining us today is political strategist Bre Maxwell. She is principal and CEO of Indigo Consulting, a political consulting firm. She is widely known for her practical, common sense approach to political strategy, issue advocacy, and civic engagement. She's worked for Congressman Jim Clyburn on the Jamie Harrison Senate campaign, and as a political analyst and social justice advocate, she's appeared on CNN, MSNBC, NPR, Al Jazeera, the Washington Times, and also the Washington Post, among others. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's first talk about some highlights from the hearing. Attorney Mathis, you want to start?
Well, I think I will start at the end. Cory Booker's impassioned support and tribute to Judge Jackson was just what she needed in the moment. And frankly, after watching the shenanigans through the hearing, it was what I needed as well. I thought it was interesting that he intentionally and firmly grounded in the African-American faith tradition, which I didn't realize he was so steeped in, but clearly he is. And that resonated with her, and I think gave her a moment of vindication after what she had been through. Not that she was not up to the task, but no one wants to be pilloried, especially for issues that are only tangentially related at best to the purpose of the hearings, which is she qualified to be on the Supreme Court?
Right. We've got a clip that we're going to share in just a minute. Bre, what were some of the highlights for you from this week's hearings?
So I have to echo what Attorney Mathis also said. Cory Booker in his speech yesterday was amazing. And it was very inspiring. But what I also have enjoyed watching was the senator from California, Senator Padilla. He has said some amazing things as well. He has said some encouraging things to her as well. Now, I have to say a highlight for me also was Lindsey Graham on the negative aspect, because Lindsey Graham literally just showed out and he showed his butt. Lindsey Graham showed us who he really is. And Lindsey Graham also showed us why he does not need to be the senior senator from the state of South Carolina. When we had our watch party yesterday in South Carolina, the first thing we saw was Lindsey Graham showing out. So immediately everybody was just like, oh no, we need to start calling. So so imagine 20 Black women calling Lindsey Graham's office, blowing up the lines. And it got to the point to where no one could leave a message because people just kept calling him, leaving messages. So I think that was one thing that stuck out to me, is just how foolish he was up there acting.
And the thing about Lindsey, we're all South Carolinians, or at least I am. Lindsey doesn't know who Lindsey is.
Absolutely.
1 minute, he's excoriating the former president in the harshest terms. The next minute, he's in his pocket. And now he's back. Is he upset because of Kavanaugh? Is he upset because of Ms. Childs? Or does he have any legitimate reason to criticize Judge Jackson? He's all over the place. And next week, I promise you, he'll be saying something else. He just doesn't, from my point of view, doesn't have any credibility.
Wow.
Where is he coming from? Of course, it was more strategic maybe than I want to admit, because not only Lindsey Graham, but Cruz and Howley and the guy from Texas, other guy from, seems like they were all singing from the same playbook. And it seemed to me, especially with the emphasis on pornography, that they were playing to the QAnon crowd.
Yeah. Okay, Josie says you better preach, Attorney Mathis. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. Please post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses. Both of you spoke about Cory Brown and some of his statements. Let's watch a little bit of what he did say yesterday.
Judge, after me, only 5 to go. But sit back for a second, because I don't have questions right away. I actually have a number of things I just want to say, because this has been not a surprise, given the history that we all know, not a surprise, but perhaps a little bit of a disappointment, some of the things that have been said in this hearing. The way you have dealt with some of these things, that's why you are a judge and I am a politician, because you have sat with grit and grace and have shown us just extraordinary demeanor during the times where people were saying things to you that are actually out of the norm. I had to go up dais to ask some of my more senior colleagues about what I feel like is a dangerous precedent. People are taking 1,000 cases you've been over. Is that right? I'm sorry, I said you wouldn't ask you questions, but just give me
something like that.
Something like that. And from what I understand is that these cases often take days, weeks, sometimes months, right?
To
to
decide in a case.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a trial sometimes, and folks are taking any of those cases and just trying to pick pieces out. And so my colleague, Senator Hawley, has been doing this all into the lead up and saying things, tweeting things that I think that a lot of us, when I was just trying to get some advice here, is this is what the new standard is going to be. That any judge coming before us that has ever chosen outside of the sentencing guidelines, below the sentencing guidelines, we're creating this environment now where I could make myself the hero of people who have been victims of some horrible crime and suddenly put whatever judge I want on the defensive by trying to drag out little bits when they have no context to the case. None of the facts. They're seeking to exploit the complexities of a criminal justice system, the reason why we have a third branch of government. I feel bad that there was a judge mentioned by name in this hearing that's from Senator Hawley's state. What is that judge going to think next time they have a complicated sexual abuse case that comes before them, and they know that they could possibly be called out if they go below the sentencing guidelines, which I showed you yesterday in my lack of chart. If you remember, I was uncharted. But that you are deciding completely in the norm. 70+% in many states are people are doing just like you did. But I'm a Democratic senator. I've never quoted from this very well-respected conservative periodical. This is the National Review. Very well-respected. They're not necessarily something I agree with all the time. But here's what the National Review, this is the title. Senator Hawley's disingenuous attack against Judge Jackson's record on child pornography. Just read the first paragraph. I would oppose Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson because of her judicial philosophy for the reasons I outlined last week. I addressed that in a separate post. For now, I want to discuss the claim by Senator Josh Hawley that Judge Jackson is appallingly soft on child pornography offenders. This is the kicker here. The allegations appear meritless to the point of demagoguery.
That's just a little bit of what Cory Booker said. That wasn't the clip we were supposed to play, but that's the clip that played. So, but I want to ask you, ladies. Jenna Jennings-Boykin says about Lindsey Graham that he was absolutely horrible. Thank you, Jenna, for your comment. I want to ask both of you, and Bre, you mentioned that you and a couple of other ladies hosted a watch party yesterday. Tell us about some of the other things that are taking place across the country to raise awareness about this confirmation hearing.
So I work with this group called Sister Lead, Sisters Vote. And what we have been able to do with our president, Holly Holiday, what we have been able to do is we've been doing regional calls across the country. We have been to states like Illinois, Arkansas, North Carolina, South Carolina. You was on the South Carolina call. We did Florida, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Mississippi, Tennessee, Colorado. We're going to do Iowa next week. So basically what we have been doing, and we also did California and Texas. So basically what we're doing is we're calling into states, having judges, former judges, retired judges, attorneys, Black women leaders, and some of these senators who sit on the Judiciary Committee. We are doing Zoom calls. And what we're doing is we're doing a call to action. And we are making sure that we get people calling into these Senate offices with the script and telling them, look, we need to make sure that we confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the actions that we have been doing across the country. And not only that, we've also been doing watch parties. A few states have had watch parties where we're watching the hearing so people can learn, this process of the confirmation, what really goes on and how everything happens. Because I can tell you, yesterday when we had our watch party, a lot of women was like, well, this was the first time that I've watched this. I knew she was going through the confirmation hearing, but this is my first time sitting here watching it. And they didn't realize the intricacies of the whole process. So those are a few things that we've been doing. And on top of that, we've been doing letter writing campaigns and stuff like that. And I'll let Attorney Mathis say what she's been doing, but we've been doing a lot of work and a lot of action.
Yeah, it's interesting, Attorney Mathis. People are interested. It's almost like when Barack Obama ran. people are heightened, their interest is heightened, and people want to kind of get involved in the process. Tell us about some other things that are going on and what people can do to help.
Well, the easiest thing to do is contact your United States senators, 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121. They may ask you your state or your zip code, and you'll be transferred to the appropriate office. More likely than not, you'll have to leave a message, but the message is simple. Hashtag confirm Judge Jackson, and keep it just that simple. Not everyone will have a vote in the Senate this first round. Of course, it goes through the Senate Judiciary Committee first. And of course, Lindsey Graham is ranking member on Senate Judiciary, which is why he gets to, no, he's not ranking member. The guy from Iowa is ranking member, but he gets more than his time, it seems to me, to cross-examine the witness. The other things that have been going on, this really started back in the summer with a campaign to try to get criminal justice reform and voting rights. And we didn't get a breather before this nomination came up, and we had to shift gears. And it was really born out of a desire to make sure that whatever the fire of this confirmation process would be, she wouldn't have to go through it alone. Not that we were meeting with the nominee or anything like that, but just making sure that Black women had her back. And I think it's been remarkable to see the level of cooperation. I love Holly Holiday. She's a great organizer, a tremendous strategist in her own right. There was a watch party in DC yesterday. Higher Heights has been running around the clock, a digital watch party. There's a watch party in Georgia today. And I knew that there was one in South Carolina. There's one in Tennessee earlier this week, just to make sure that people are aware. And of course, during the watch party in DC yesterday, we make calls to the Senate offices to make sure they know that we're watching and we're concerned and we care about this tremendous historic moment.
Attorney Janice Mathis is a CEO, Executive Director of the National Council of Negro Women. We're talking today about the nomination of Judge Ketanji Brown to the Supreme Court and what you can do to help. Devin Anderson says this is a good time to engage Black women politically. Thank you, Devin. I think it's a good time to engage Black people, just everyone. Why do you think our people should be involved and engaged? Why is this important? Bre, I'll go to you first.
First, I want to say hello to Devin. He's my South Carolina State University classmate. So a lot of this political work I did with Devin getting in trouble down at South Carolina State. So, but on top of that, it's important to be engaged politically. And I'll speak from just Democratic Party talking points because I am DNC committee woman from South Carolina. I look at it from things such as infrastructure. Yesterday, I learned that in the town of Somerton, they're having water issues. So it is the year 2022, and no one should be living anywhere where we're still having water issues, right? And that's a part of infrastructure. Another thing, there are still parts of South Carolina where people do not have access to broadband. They don't. And there are a lot of people who didn't even realize what broadband was. I remember on the campaign trail with Jamie and talking with people. A lot of people didn't realize that broadband actually meant internet. So these are just a couple reasons why we need to make sure we're staying engaged, to make sure that our children have proper internet access, to make sure that we have clean drinking water, to make sure that we have safe roads and bridges in our state. Again, it's 2022 and it makes no sense that we still have to drive around in potholes, damaging our vehicles. Education, I believe we're probably number 46 in this state now. I'm probably giving the wrong figure in this country now. I'm probably giving the wrong figure. But with education, it was at one point Henry McMaster wanted to take X amount of dollars from public schools to put into private schools. What sense does that make? If it's a public school and you're paying taxes, those tax dollars go to fund public schools. So it's small reasons like that why we need to be politically engaged, because these are things that are affecting us all across the state of South Carolina. I can speak from South Carolina's standpoint, and nationally, healthcare, especially from a Black woman standpoint, Black women are still dying at astronomical rates with birth and just things like that. So I implore people to stay politically engaged, because these are things that if it's not affecting you, it's affecting someone that you know.
Yeah.
So these are reasons why we should stay politically engaged and stay politically active.
Yeah, Bre Maxwell is with Indigo Consulting. She is a political activist who does many things, including appearances on media. Janice Mathis, Attorney Janice Mathis, is with the National Council of Negro Women. Attorney Mathis, what is at stake here?
You know, selecting federal judges, nominating them and getting them confirmed may be the most important thing that a president does. A president is president for 4 years. A senator is senator for 6 years. A member of Congress only 2 years. But those federal judgeships last for a lifetime. And they shape issues that are so critical to the preservation of justice and democracy, like voting rights. Most of that law is determined either in the federal Congress or in the federal courts. Right now, we see, not so much in South Carolina, but one of my favorite members of Congress, G.K. Butterfield, is not running for re-election in North Carolina because with the state redistricting, his district was changed. Those federal judges are appointed by presidents, including the Supreme Court justices. Whether you're talking about affirmative action, criminal justice reform, voting rights, workers' rights, equal pay, go down the list, and you will find that there is probably a United States Supreme Court case that bears directly or indirectly on that issue. So we must be concerned about what goes on in the court. Everybody's talking about violence now, but when are we finally going to do something about guns? I was sort of gratified to hear Dick Durbin say yesterday, look, Lindsay, some of this is our own fault. He was talking about the context of pornography because the Congress has not revisited the guidelines for sentencing people who were convicted of pornography. And back when you had to get every image had to be taken with a camera, 50 images was a lot. But now that you can download 1,000 images and send them at the speed of light to anybody you choose, numbers don't matter so much. And that's what the judge was attempting to explain to those knuckleheads. I don't know if they're really ignorant or whether they were just feigning ignorance so they could keep bringing it up over and over and over again. But federal courts and federal judges, and particularly the Supreme Court, are important. People say, well, she won't make a difference because the odds are she will remain in the minority. Well, who thought that John Roberts would become a moderate? Mm-hmm. But he has, because he's an institutionalist. And it may be that we get another vacancy, or it may be that somebody else has a change of heart. So you can't count them out. Plus, until you have read some of Ginsburg's dissents, she speaks so loudly in dissent. She said, just because it stopped raining, we shouldn't throw away our umbrella, talking about the Voting Rights Act. So even when you don't win, you have influence on the Supreme Court. It's just very, very, very important.
Yeah. Judge, attorney, I done promoted you to judge. Attorney Janice Mathis with the National Council.
I do not have judicial. I tell you what I don't have. I do not have judicial temperament.
Attorney Janice Mathis with the National Council of Negro Women. You said people can call 202-224-2131, 202-224-2131. They can speak with folks to let them know how they feel about Judge Ketanji Brown being confirmed, correct? 202-224-2131. Attorney Mathis, it's 202-224-2131. Oh, I think she's frozen. All right.
224-3121.
3121, 224-3121, 202-224-3121. Let folks know once they make that call what they need to say.
They would say, I live in the state of South Carolina and I would like to be connected to my senator's office.
Okay. All right.
The switchboard will know. They're getting lots and lots of calls. I think we came close to shutting the switchboard down at the Senate yesterday.
Yep. Wow.
Bree, thanks for the good work that you all are doing all across the country. It really has been amazing. And some of the other groups on the Black Women's Roundtable, Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, of course, Power Rising, She Will Rise. Just so the sororities, the fraternities, the religious faith organizations, Black women coming together across organizational lines to support this nomination and candidacy.
202-224-3121. Bre Maxwell is principal and CEO of Indigo Consulting. You can see her email and website if you want more information about her. Of course, from the National Council of Negro Women, attorney Janice Mathis. Her website, the National Council of Women website, and her email is also on the screen if you want more information about what you can do, because your voice does matter. Your voice does matter. It's not something happening way up in Washington, D.C. Yes, it is happening there, but your voice matters in this process. So here is a time where you can do something from the comfort of your home and make a difference. So call 202-224-3121. Ladies, thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to us about this important, historic nomination, this time in our lives, and what people can do to activate and what people can do to help. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. We love you.
Thank you. Love you too. We are going to end with a clip from Ketanji Brown and the confirmation hearings. This is a little bit of her opening statement.
I have been a judge for nearly a decade now, and I take that responsibility and my duty to be independent very seriously. I decide cases from a neutral posture. I evaluate the facts, and I interpret and apply the law to the facts of the case before me without fear or favor, consistent with my judicial oath. I know that my role as a judge is a limited one, that the Constitution empowers me only to decide cases and controversies that are properly presented. And I know that my judicial role is further constrained by careful adherence to precedent. Now, in preparing for these hearings, you may have read some of my more than 570 written decisions, and you may have also noticed that my opinions tend to be on the long side. That is because I also believe in transparency, that people should know precisely what I think and the basis for my decision.
That is attorney Ketanji Brown. She is being confirmed this week for the SCOTUS position. And again, call 202-224-3121. Coming up tomorrow on Coping with Tre Tailor, we are going to talk to the first woman of color and the first minority to be in executive position at the Columbia Metropolitan Airport. Chappelle Brown Stevenson joins us tomorrow. And then we've got a special show on Saturday, Hush No More. Vanessa Dunn-Guyton joins us. She's doing an amazing event for teens, the One Love event this Sunday for teens. Drop your teens off so that they can be a part of this amazing event where they can get food, fellowship, and also find out more about dating violence. That's coming up this Saturday on Coping with Tre Tailor. As always, I leave you with a reading this week, this month, this year, actually. We've been reading from Conversations with God. This is a good one, y'all. And this is one that I needed myself. It says, my child, I want you to know that you are great and I am with you. This is why you are great, because I am with you. Just know that I am in control, for you know the way, the straight way. My child, be anxious for nothing, but with prayer, supplication, and thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to me. Think on those things that are honest, pure, good, and of good report. I came that you may have life and have it more abundantly. cast all of your cares upon me. That's from Conversations with God, Cheryl Williams with Agape Counseling and Training Services. She's got this amazing book. Listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope with COVID, please email booking@copingwithtretailor.com. booking@copingwithtretailor.com. We would love for you to be a guest on the show. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope with COVID, we would love for you to do that too. Please email copingwithtretailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be highlighted, just like SCDHEC and It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council. They sponsor Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with Tre Tailor, on Coping with COVID. Javis Tax Services, the City of Columbia, also Palmetto Media Connections, the Comet Bus System, Black Expo, Black Pages, which are having the expo in Columbia May 19th and 20th, featuring Anthony Anderson. That's going to be great. Agape Counseling and Training Services and Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, all our sponsors, and we're so glad to have them. Listen, until the next time, I wish you peace and abundant blessings. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, stay well, God bless, and don't forget to wear your mask over your nose and under your chin. Thanks so much.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success in improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive. Ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting learning what you can do. 6 days to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success in improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive. Ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting learning what you can do. 6 days to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping.